It's funny, it seems this month a lot of questions I'm getting from clients in my masterminds are circling around the idea of resistance I feel in relationship to other people or other people feel in relationship to me. I had a question this week from a client who wanted to talk to me about when she feels like she gets zapped by another person. That was the word she used, zapped. Well, what she's talking about, and I'm sure you can relate, is when you're in a conversation with someone or you're in some sort of a situation with someone, and all the the alarm bells, the adrenaline gets going. It feels like you've been shocked on the carpeting, static electricity or something. Only maybe even a little bit more. Maybe you feel it in your stomach, and you suddenly can't breathe, and your body's getting ready to go into fight, flight, or freeze, one or the other, right? And she used that term zapped. What do I do when I get zapped from someone? Well, here's where we started, and I want to share that with you. That zap, I call that a trigger. I call that a trigger. It's almost like you're pulling the trigger, and there's something behind that trigger. When you pull the trigger, then all those chemicals flood your body, fight, flight, or freeze. And now you're off to the races, and half your brain shuts down, and the other part of your brain is ready to either, freeze in place or run away or get into a fight. So there's a trigger there. And what's behind that trigger is something, an idea, a belief, a pattern, a wounding that hasn't been healed. There's something behind that trigger that has set up that trigger to go when it's pulled or pushed to go off. Here's the good news, and you may not like this. You may not like this, but it is good news. To the extent that I am zapped or triggered, to the extent that I am, however big that trigger is, the bigger that trigger is, the more it has to do with me, not the other person. Now, when I first learned this, I was not happy with this, and I didn't even believe it. And maybe you don't believe it either, and that's totally okay. The truth is, though, is that, again, we're talking about who am I being? Who can I be? What can I do about something? How can I change to accommodate what I'm wanting my experience to be in the world? So the bigger the trigger, the more that is about me, not the other person. Again, just like in the last recording, I was saying it's not about making the other person behave differently. What can I control in myself? And so the good news is that when I get triggered, that is a call for me to change a belief, a pattern, an idea, a thought. I have the ability to reappraise what's going on underneath the trigger. Maybe it's I need some healing. Maybe that's an old wounding. But I have some control over that. Now, definitely when it comes to healing or really any of this, it's very helpful to have somebody who understands these kinds of things and can really support you in doing your own work and in doing work the way it works for you. I will say that. But the good news is the more you're triggered up, the more that is about you. The more I'm triggered up, the more it has to do about me. And I've seen it over and over and over. And the good news is that when I do my work, when you do your work, those things can clear up and they won't trigger you anymore. Okay, great. Great, you say. Yeah, fantastic. So what do I do about it right now? Maybe you've recently been triggered. Well, I'm going to help you with that in the next video that I put out. What can I do? How can I play with those trigger moments, either in the moment or shortly thereafter, so that I build that muscle to care for myself